Myself and photojournalist Vincent Parker are here on Newcastle Road, and you can just take a look behind me. I was able to speak to two neighbors this afternoon, one who lives right next door to the 9-year-old boy who was shot, and one who lives across the street whose home was also hit by gunfire. Well, Sarah, more than 5 million children have tested positive for COVID-19 since this pandemic began, and a pediatrician here at Children's of Alabama says that's because of the Delta variant. Well, Morgan, this was actually the second time that review board has met since it was created back in April. Now, its purpose is to provide transparency and accountability of the city and the police department, and also review alleged complaints of misconduct from the community. As I've been here in the Mount Olive community all day long, some of the most significant damage that I've seen is from homes where trees have toppled onto those homes and caused significant damage, as is the case here at this home on Mount Olive Road. This mobile morgue can hold up to 16 bodies, and that's especially important right now because they're running out of room to house those bodies, with COVID deaths rising in Walker County. Be with the pace of grace, and I think we all need some of that right about now. She says we all want things to get back to normal, of course, but for right now we just have to be okay with things not being okay.
I go with science, and I believe that the masks at least bring the risk down to the children.
Robbie Caponetto says he and his wife have been agonizing over the district's decision to keep masks optional this school year.
Kind of taken aback and not ready for that. We thought everyone was in agreement. And once they started that started our quest to see what's our other options were in schools.
Caponetto has two daughters aged 6 and 10. They're not yet old enough to get the COVID-19 vaccine, which is why he was hoping the district would require masks.
It just doesn't make sense for us to have our children exposed on a daily basis at school. Last year we went the entire year, everyone was masked up, and we never missed a day of school. We never had strep throat. We never had a stomach bug. We had a perfect year. According
to the VHCS COVID-19 dashboard, a total of 126 students have tested positive for COVID since August 10th, and 304 students were at home because of COVID exposure. Caponetto says taking his children out of the district was one of the hardest decisions he and his wife have ever had to make, but keeping his daughter safe was top of mind.
Yesterday's school board meeting was basically our last chance to see if they were going to maybe just change their minds. We felt a little back in the corner. We just happened to call this school, and they happened to have 2 spots for our kids, so it just kind of worked out. I don't know what we would have done if they didn't have the spots.
Baby Kamarian is back where he belongs, in the arms of his mother, Brianna Washington. But his great-grandmother, Barbara Washington, says his kidnapping was like something out of a movie.
The lady was like a friendly lady. She came, but she was a friend, the mother of the girl that graduated with my granddaughter who had the baby. And I think nothing of her being cuckoo, crazy, or nothing, because she didn't seem that way.
That lady is 37-year-old Lakeisha Brown. Washington says Brown befriended her granddaughter about 8 months into her pregnancy. She thought it was odd that someone her age would want to hang around her granddaughter, but says Brown's kindness put her mind at ease. Washington says things got strange following Brianna's doctor's appointment Tuesday morning. She says Brianna was in a lot of pain, so she told her granddaughter to take a hot bath.
When she got out the tub, the lady told her to take the pill that the doctor gave her, but this time take 2.
Washington says Brianna fell asleep soon after taking the medicine. Brown was watching the baby, but they were gone when Brianna woke up. Washington says Kamarian's 3-year-old brother told them Brown had taken off with the baby.
I said, what she did with him, Cameron? She put him in the car, and she put him in the car seat and buckled him down, and she told me she'll be back for me. My mind was talking to the Lord. I sent the prayers up that I do not want him to be found at night. I want him to come back in the day.
The 4700 block of Avenue T was calm Friday afternoon, but neighbors were awakened to the sounds of a bullet grazing a 9-year-old boy.
They stopped right here in my driveway, where that car just passed, and they opened fire. So I know it was a car, but I didn't get a chance to see it because with all the gunfire, first thing you do is get down.
Darren Armstead has been living in the Central Park neighborhood for decades. He says it used to be a quiet place to live, but gun violence in the area is rising.
I don't know what the cause of it, but it needs to stop. This is a nice community I like over here. I've been here 31 years. But sadly, things happen everywhere, so you're never safe nowhere.
Anita Sellers' home was also shot Friday morning, hitting a room she just left.
Actually, I had just came out of the restroom, and I heard the shooting, but I just hear it all the time, so I paid it no attention. But my husband instructed for me to get on the floor, and we did. And in about 10 minutes or so, the police came, and we knew exactly that something had happened.
Both Sellers and Armstead say they have no intentions of moving anytime soon, but they both want the same thing for their community.
Peace, put it that way. Stop the violence. Talk it out. You ain't got to shoot it out.
And if you know something, say something. It's frightful out here, but the only way is to tell somebody.
Kinks, coils, curls, waves. The textures of our hair are as varied as the hues of our skin, and the hairstyles we choose to wear are a reflection of who we are.
Hi, my name is BB, and I love my hair because it's expressive.
I love my natural because it is versatile.
I have to have options for my hair. I've been wearing Sister Locks for 18 years.
I love to change my color up from red, orange, black, maybe even blue one day, but I love my hair because I can wear it any type of way, any day.
I'm Tanya, and I love my braids.
I'm Sharifa, and I love my locks.
But as more Black people embrace the natural strands growing from their heads, many realize the fight toward racial equality includes hair.
I think subconsciously, a lot of people don't understand the issues that we go through. A lot of people don't understand the invasion of our privacy that we get when we are natural. You'll have people that walk up to you and say, "Can I touch your hair?" And I'm like, okay, in what world do you walk up to a complete stranger and you just want to touch their hair?
At issue, hair discrimination, a form of social injustice targeting those with Afro-textured hair.
For me, it is an expression of who I am.
Many in the Black community say they felt pressure to conform to a more Eurocentric standard of beauty after being told their hair was a distraction, unprofessional, unattractive, or even unclean.
I did have people frown upon me because the ignorance about locks is that when I first got them, people were thinking that you didn't wash your hair, there wasn't manicured, it wasn't good hygiene. And I had some clients and some associates to question my hygiene because of my hair, which I thought was just ridiculous and stupid. I'm like, so you think I do hair for a living, I'm a professional cosmetologist, and I'm walking around here with hair that I never shampoo, that is not kept, and bad hygiene. I mean, part of what I do is hygiene and beauty, so come on, let's be reasonable.
I have felt, that I had to straighten my hair, or that I remember Googling, asking my Black female friends, what's more professional, box braids or singly Swiss? How should I wear it? And nobody should have to do that, because unless I'm thinking of something else or I'm just not remembering anything, I don't know any other race that has to think about what hairstyle they have to deal with.
Sadly, this form of discrimination isn't new, dating back centuries. And recent studies show Black women are 80% more likely than white women to believe they need to change their hair to fit in at work, and were more likely to be sent home from the workplace because of their hair.
I feel angry because, number one, you cannot tell me why you sending me home because of my hair. I just got my hair done, so I know it's neat. I know it's pretty, and I know it look good. So what is your issue with my hair? Because I decided to fix my hair in a different way other than what you're used to. And it's unfair, and it's just time out for discrimination. Since being a state representative of District 58, sitting in this seat, I think this job has put me more on my knees than any job I have ever had in my life, because you see so much. You see the blatant racism.
But this isn't just a workplace problem. Many schools have controversial dress code policies some say unfairly target Black children. In 2017, twin 15-year-olds Maya and Deanna Cook were given detentions when their school officials at their Boston, Massachusetts charter school determined their professionally braided hair was in violation of a school policy. The same thing happened in Terrytown, Louisiana in 2018, when school leaders at Christ the King Middle School expelled a girl because of her braids, saying the hairstyle was, quote, unnatural. And who could forget Andrew Johnson, the New Jersey teenager who was given an ultimatum: cut his locks or forfeit his wrestling match.
When they took him there, they knew he had locks. Who told them to pick up a pair of scissors and alter a child in front of the world like that just for a match? Somebody should have been his advocate.
I was floored. I understood he wanted to compete. I mean, I appreciate the fact that he put a lot of time, effort, and energy to be in that position, and he wanted to see it through. I was so mad that I felt like somebody should have came and championed that boy and kept him from having to cut his lock.
We need the
Crown Act.
But a movement to end hair discrimination is gaining ground across the country. The Crown Act, a law that prohibits the denial of employment and education opportunities based on hair texture or protective hairstyles like braids, locks, twists, or bantu knots.
What does CROWN stand for? Creating a respectable and open world for natural hair. And that title in itself is just beautiful. I think respect is the one word, just respect my DNA, my heritage, who I am as a person that I cannot absolutely change.
The Crown Act was created by Dove and the Crown Coalition back in 2019, ensuring legal protection from disciplinary action for certain hairstyles worn in the workplace and schools.
It angers me a little because this is 2021. Why do we need a bill for this? This should be automatic. I'm not gonna get emotional, because it rattles me. But we have to come up with a bill so for us not to be discriminated against our hair.
The Crown Act was first introduced in California and became law there in 2019. 6 other states, including New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Colorado, Washington, and Maryland, have also adopted the Crown Act or similar legislation. And many here hope Alabama will be the 8th state to join the movement.
To be an ambassador for the Crown Act, basically you are taking on the role for your city, seeing how you can push this organization, this grassroots organization, and how we can help here in Alabama. We're trying to establish a bill where you don't have discrimination against your natural hair in the workplace.
I started on this bill, which this session is HB 87. And I started working on this bill, and I also got a colleague of mine who's an attorney. He started working on this bill with me because he saw the pushback that I was getting from this bill. This bill is called the Civil Rights Act of Alabama, which is also adopted by the Crown Act. We've gone through enough. And I think to me, with everything going on, I think this is the right time for this bill because it's time out for discrimination because of how we look, because of how we wear our hair.
We want to make sure that they hire you or keep you on the job because you are qualified, you have the credentials, you have the experience. Like, that's what should matter most.
We need the Crown Act.
For many Black people, hair is about self-expression. And for us, it's more than just a fashion statement. It's a symbol of pride and identity. So whether you choose to wear it relaxed, natural, braided, locked, or otherwise, it should boil down to choice. Alabama authorities have identified the body of a missing man who was pulled from Lake Guntersville this week. The Marshall County Sheriff's Office announced on Tuesday that the victim was Charles Kenneth Land. He was first reported missing on December 27th. Sheriff Phil Sims told news outlets Land's body was recovered on Monday from water near the Lake Guntersville Sailing Club Marina, about 50 miles east of Huntsville. Sims says preliminary forensic reports indicate foul play was not involved. The investigation is ongoing. An Alabama man is in custody charged in the death of a 72-year-old man whose body was found in a well. Sheriff's investigators charged 58-year-old Herbert Sprayberry with murder in James Edmund Clark's death. Investigators say Clark and Sprayberry were acquaintances. Authorities say an examination at the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences showed Clark died from being stabbed and shot before his body was dumped in that well. Clark had not been seen for 3 weeks before he was reported missing on December 19th. Health officials around the state are reporting Alabama has some of the most flu cases in the country. In the last few weeks, it's even gotten worse. People 65 years and older and young children have the greatest chance of getting the virus. Doctors say it's dangerous and you need to protect yourself as well as everyone else.
When you look at the cost of losing work or risking transmitting your infection to a grandparent or somebody else around you that's sick, it's worth the cost.
Doctors say the #1 way to stay healthy is to get a flu shot. You should also wash your hands thoroughly and often and avoid being around sick people. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey is praising Alabamians for the state's success in 2019. On New Year's Day, Governor Ivey released a video touting improvements in the labor sector, including the lowest unemployment record in the state. She also said Alabama had an unprecedented number of new and existing companies that invested in major projects. The governor spoke about how communities came together in, quote, true Alabama fashion in times of tragedy. She then ended her message with a shout out to Alabama's bicentennial and a wish for everyone to have a happy new year filled with joy and prosperity. Pope Francis started 2020 condemning violence against women and chastising industries such as advertising pornography for sacrificing a woman's body for consumerism. But of everything he spoke about, all anyone was talking about was how he reacted to one woman on the last night of 2019. Ann Thompson explains. With the start of the new year, some may be looking for a new career path. And the good news is some companies are in need of workers. Coming up on First News at 4, a look at one industry that's scrambling to find employees.